welcome everybody to another episode of us rambling about bullshit. We got Donald here from PinkuStyle. Adrian, of course, is back. Juan's back. Cody's not here because I hurt his feelings about transgender boxers in the Olympics or something. I don't know. He's mad. Yeah, so we're just going to talk about probably drifting and cars and business and parts. I don't know, whatever we feel like. So, Donald, why don't you give us all an introduction, man? Tell people who you are, what you're doing, your product lineup, like everything you got going on, boss.
Cool. Again, thanks, guys, for having me up here. Again, I watch you guys. I like streaming you guys in the garage. I had you guys in last week while I was working on cars. So it's kind of cool to hear like-minded people, especially in these days and age where everybody's kind of like, fighting each other. So Don Jackson, 41 years old, I think, from Baltimore, Maryland. Been in Japan for 16 and a half years, running PinkuStyle. Some of the stuff I got right here is just my coilovers, my shoes. I got brakes and stuff like that. And I switched to parts of my own because, honestly, I try to get with Stag or Stage Wheels and Cosmos and all those guys. And was getting a run around. I was like, fuck, can we swear here, man? But I was like, screw it, dude. Let me make my own stuff, man. So with the coilovers and everything, man, I just kind of went to the I wanted to remove middlemen, and it started from coilovers, and actually it started from the stimulus check. I used a stimulus check to launch the coilovers, that launched the wheels and the brakes and so forth and so on. And I just and I'm pretty sure you guys can agree, man. The middleman, I just try to remove as many as possible, and then went to me making my own stuff. So I didn't set out to sell like a ton of units, but I got my own wheels and stuff like that, and that's the major thing I'm pushing right now outside of like performance work and tuning. Driving, as you know, guys, some of you guys may know, I'll be back in the Philippines next in a couple weeks, and this is a venture where Japan is great and cool, but as we discussed before, Japan is kind of 1960s think, especially when it comes to D1, and I'd rather come to Philippines, hang out with Seth, meet the guys there, have fun in a non-biased environment, and if I'm going to like do something, I'm spending less money and things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at, man. So in Japan, blah blah blah, but I'll be in Europe. Like I was just talking to Adrian, I'll be in Florida, and all around for FD and stuff like that. So that's just what's going on with me, man.
Hell yeah, on, dude. Yes. So I know, kind of touching on the Japan and Philippines thing, carry on from where we were at last week. Like, I remember it kind of blew your mind, man, like having the full pit crew, like we talked about last time, right? I know the car didn't run right last time. Lots of wiring issues that we've had to work through, and we try to do our best down there. But having that pit crew, it's a different experience than being in Japan, I think, for sure. But for a guy like you that's been, Okinawa, mainland, everything, like, how do you look at the Philippines from your experience there?
The biggest thing, man, is the number one shocking thing is like how much everybody speaks English there. So that's, I kind of went there expecting like not to be able to communicate. Everybody speaks English. Like I didn't speak to a single person that did one dual dialect. And the for the pit thing, Alan, like surprisingly, is only like my only pit guide in Japan. So I ran a skeleton crew here because with military guys, everybody's in different schedules. And then honestly, some people I just don't want around, man. So if guys don't know how to do things, or I got to motivate them to do things, I just rather do it myself, man. And from listening to the podcast previously, all of you guys are the same way, man. We rather do it ourselves than delegate to somebody else and do a half-ass job. So as far as the Philippines, man, one thing that it was shocking, it reminded me of old D1 where like Bodhi would come over there and help out, and then we end up driving against each other in the top 32 or whatever. So everybody's right now, they're in a phase of everything is kind of like fun. But unfortunately, man, being around the game 20 plus years, I know what's going to happen. Money's going to come there. Things are going to change. And then it's going to change between like, this is my team. And if you lost a coal pack or whatever, sorry, dude, we're going to take the buy run or whatever, and we're going to go on. So right now it's still in the fun stage, and that's cool. And I'm kind of glad to go there right now in this stage of things, and, set things up and get myself known there and get some products sold there.
Yeah, for sure, dude. We're definitely getting products down there that we've talked about. I think I mentioned it a few episodes back. One, I don't know if you remember, but I said, like, my opinion of the Philippines when I first moved here was it's kind of Japan in the 1980s, early 90s right now, as far as 100%. The cars, like the way people are putting cars together. I mean, me and Donald are looking stuff in the pits, like, no wonder you're not finishing the fucking event, bro. Like, goddamn. But they're taking what they've got and they're making it work. And some of the stuff they do down here is pretty amazing, man. Like we just put the handbrake calipers, the hydro on the Skyline, and Booty's crew came over to do that, which I didn't even ask them to really do that. I was like, hey, do you have the hubs? And he's like, yeah, I got the hubs. Next thing I know, they're making brake lines. They got the tools out to turn around. They've got like 3 Coke cans to make a shim spacer or something. I don't know, dude. Like next thing I know, the calipers are on.
Bubble gum for the throttle return spring.
Like, next thing I know, they turn around and the calipers are back off, and they're like, oh, they were rusty inside, so we're gonna fix it. I'm like, oh, all right. They're like, you have a rebuild kit? I'm like, no, I don't have anything for that here. Like, it's cool. So I turned back around. Me and Booty are bullshitting at the shop at the end of the day, and all of a sudden there's like 5 of our workers, a case of beer, some nylon brushes, a bucket of something. They've got 20 beers drank in the corner, laughing in Tagalog, and the calipers are clean, scrubbed, painted, and rebuilt. Like, you know what I mean?
God damn. Yeah. I wish it was that easy. I mean, in my experience, and I saw it a lot, especially this last week, and I've been out of the game for a little while, but, getting back into it, we saw that a lot with some of the lower, the more entry-level classes. A lot of those guys are still very grassroots, and they're about, helping each other out and really supporting one another, but it's kind of funny because, I texted one of the guys that I race against, and I've been supporting all year. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I said, look, I'm looking for a car. I need a car to drive this weekend, and da-da-da. Oh, I'll get you. I'll get you one, and it never happened. So here I am Wednesday scrambling to go pick up another fucking race car that I picked up for $300. Now I got to gut it, put a cage in it, do all that before Saturday. So, it's kind of a we had to find those workarounds with this particular track, what they're going to let slide in tech and what they're not going to let slide, and just kind of knowing the ins and outs. But I told them, hey man, I need help, and nobody showed up. So it's kind of shitty. It's kind of give and take. In my opinion, you got to have that give and take, and especially when it comes to grassroots racing. And when you don't have that, it's felt across the teams and whatnot. So I'm kind of interested to see how tomorrow's going to go now that I'm going to be actively racing with everybody that I've been in the pits with the last year. And I myself, I've got a skeleton crew. I've actually got a guest that flew in from California, so he's going to be in the pits with me. So it's pretty exciting. But yeah, man, like I said, it kind of sucks because the rest of my crew is kind of like, I put the information out to them. The guys that, my 15-year-old driver, I sponsor them, support them and whatnot. And, but everybody that was on that pit crew is like, oh yeah, no, I'm busy. Can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, you're shit out of luck, like figure it out. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I've only spent the last 15 grand on you guys. You know what I mean? So, but it's kind of, you got to have that give and take, especially when it comes to grassroots racing. You're trying to get into the sport, or just kind of re-enter the sport, if you will. So, it's kind of exciting. Like I said, it's 8 years since I've been behind the wheel competitively. So,
wow.
I'm pretty sure that comment's for you, dude.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It'll come back. It'll come back after like 5 laps.
Yeah, man. So we got practice day qualifying. So hopefully those go good. I got 2 rules, man. I keep telling myself: 1, don't crash; 2, don't catch on fire. So
yeah. What car are you going to be driving?
I'm running a Buick Century Bomber.
Okay.
So it's gutted, decatted. It's got all kinds of crazy shit, dude. It's a bomber car, man. But it's short track racing, and we're running for 20 laps. So
gotcha.
We'll see how it goes.
Cody, what's up, dude? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Cody.
Nope, he's frozen. Disregard Cody. Hey, there he is. So, yeah, dude. Are you there?
What's up?
Said hi.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Georgia. So.
What are you about to shoot?
To be honest, probably myself. I'm joking. I'm joking, but nah.
You can't say that shit on the internet, bro.
Bro, that's the kind of shit that gets us bananas, bro.
Nah, it's no. I had some business stuff to take care of, so y'all know how that is.
So you're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere taking care of business. You in the car?
That sounds like getting rid of a body to me.
Yeah.
Middle of bumfuck nowhere at a hog farm.
Nah. But it sounds
Right
like
on,
everybody's doing good so far. I mean, I think
We're alive.
Donald. I don't think I've. You
No, we haven't
definitely
met.
don't remember me, but
Yeah.
it's been probably. I think I spoke to you probably 7-8 years ago, but it was more of a business thing. You had come down to Okinawa,
Oh, really?
but it was nothing crazy. I think you were at that time. I think it was more so a. I remember the seats. You had seats down there, and I was like, those are sweet.
In Okinawa?
And then, yeah,
Now you
I want
might.
to say it was.
No, I've been there before. I've been there just recently. Definitely wasn't 8 years ago, man.
Racist.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Not all black people
Not-
look alike.
Oh, whoa!
yeah.
Then
Yeah.
then somebody was there was pushing your products, but I swore I thought it was you. So
Nah, man.
How you gonna
It's
fuck
all-
up the pink Mr. T, dog?
It's all good.
For real.
no.
So
Iconic.
I think one thing we can touch on, man, is like me and Donald got to know each other because both of us have a lot of similarities in what we did, right? We both stood up shops in Japan, which is difficult as a foreigner. I get asked all the time why I left Japan, right? If I had a successful shop there by the guys down here in the Philippines, they don't understand. I'm like, bro, there's a glass ceiling as a tuner, as a foreign tuner in Japan. I feel like there's a glass ceiling for racing. I feel like there's a glass ceiling for being a performance shop. Like, you're only going to get so fucking big in Japan only, right?
Yeah.
You gotta break that. And then two, me and Donald both have the reputation of you come to us incorrect in my own shop, and I'm going to come incorrect right back at you. So, you know what I mean? I'm very direct. And yeah, my dog's it's mine. Something.
What are you banging on, man?
I don't know what the dog's doing.
Not women.
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, yeah, man, I think we can touch on a little bit of the fucking struggles in Japan, man. Like Adrian raced there. Hey, shut up. Adrian raced in Japan.
Yeah, fuck
raced
that
in
dog.
Japan, owned the shop. I've owned a shop. Like, Donald, your opinion, man, what's the toughest thing about being in Japan as a foreigner owning a business, bro?
Well, first of all, it's definitely not the language barrier because I know enough to like get around and speak and things like that. The biggest thing here is like far as when I opened, I was expecting to have like a lot of Japanese customers, and I wanted them. And then after I've been open since 2016. I've only had 4 Japanese customers, roughly 4 or 5. I think 5
Wow.
Japanese customers. And the reason why is because number one, I'm quicker than a Japanese shop. And also Japanese pay everything on the back end, everything, labor, parts, everything. And when I'm like, hey, dude, I need money up front for these parts, I will not front that. They look at you crazy. So that was the kind of the big thing that kind of turned me out towards Japanese customers. Now I don't care for them or want them. Naturally, my customer base are mainly military guys here locally, but I do parts and things like that. But as far as the hard part, man, it's just you're a guest no matter how long you've been here, what you've done for them. I've been iced out by companies. I've had guys call ahead and say block orders, like stuff that I was like, I don't think this is going on. And because I work alone, I'm always in my mind sometimes. I'm like, no, it's no way that this guy called the HKS and sit and block my order. And I did some Facebook messages and stuff like that, and people start talking, man. And people competitors out there blocking orders. Dudes are just straight up like envious. I've had friends that I didn't bang their wife, I didn't bang their daughter, I didn't bang their dog or nothing, dude. It's just like they see the threat, they see the stuff coming up, and me being 41 years old and doing more than those guys did at their age, they're not aggressive. They're not, and that's one of the things they're not. That just like about Japan, they're very passive here. So in America, dude will tell you to fuck off and do this and blah blah blah. And in Japan, they'll just kind of ignore you or just like talk behind your back, man. So I've lost a lot of friends in the last 8 years, man. Friends and associates. I saved one guy $40,000 on a dyno, and he was like, he let me use it. And I was like, this is gonna go on for a little bit. And sure enough, man, one of the customer cars came back from his shop. They went to a shop of a guy that didn't speak about my skills and what I could do. I rebuilt the engine, and from that point, we were like done. So I haven't spoke to this guy in 2 years. And this is because now the cars at my shop rebuilt and made more power, made more publicity. And Japanese are not really big into Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that. They're more X and Line and Twitter and stuff like that. So as a result, man, the hardest part to accept has been like people just not liking you now because now you're a threat, and now it's like whatever I play into it. So when I see him, it's fuck you too, man, and I'm gonna keep it that way. And my wife's like, you could be nice. I'm like, nah, if I don't like somebody, I don't like somebody. If they don't like me, they don't like me. And the reason they don't like me is because success or perceived success. So if I show those guys my bank balance, how much money's in the bank, to be honest, and I'm not shy about it. Like I'm like, dude, like, oh shit, he's not a millionaire. Like, yeah, dude, I'm still in the building process 8 years. But I'm still further along in 8 years. Those guys are like 15, 20 years. They were just at this point. So that's definitely got to be a bad feeling, and also for a foreigner to be doing it. Like I say this, and I'll end on this. Take Smoking Nagata, MCR, all the top shops in Japan. Send them to Missouri or send them to somewhere with no support and let them set up a shop. They would never do it. They would never make it because it's just not in them.
Yeah, that's probably the realest thing that it. Go ahead, Seth.
No, I was gonna say, dude, I agree. Just touching on the Japanese customers thing too is something I think blows a lot of people's minds. Being around a military facility, right, where the U.S. guys are, I'd rather have, as annoying as they can be because of American entitlement sometimes, right, and the I want it now American just culture. Like I want it now, immediately. Like that's not how it works in Japan. You gotta calm down, man. It's gonna take me some time to get the parts shipped over that you want, because you want American performance parts in Japan, and that takes time, right, to get. There's back orders, COVID happened, all that shit. But I would still rather deal with that than deal with the Japanese customers that I had as well. And I think it really is just a cultural thing. They're used to these shops, and I'm experiencing it down here as well. They're like, oh, how many years are you going to have my car? I'm like, years.
Yeah, 2 days.
Hey, bro, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Not a storage facility, bro.
Yeah. I ain't got the fucking space to be keeping your shit around here for years, dog. I want it out fast as you do.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, you're gonna do a full chassis wire in like 3 weeks. I'm like 100%.
Yeah.
Like 100% that's happening, right? So and it is, the Japanese customers don't expect that. We've talked about before, like all of a sudden you're done with the car and they don't have the money to pay you because they thought 100%. It was gonna take 6 months. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I would prefer it. And then I don't know if you've experienced this. I rebuilt a RX-7 for a guy a while back, and the dude, American husband, Japanese wife, it was her car, super friendly couple, at least the husband was, right? And this car hasn't ran in like 9 years. It shows up with no power. It shows up with no electricity, like nothing. Blown engine. Rebuild the whole car, restore it back, find all the issues, get it running back to factory condition. And she's like, but my steering wheel is hard to turn. I'm like, because you have a 300 millimeter steering wheel. It makes a scraping sound. That would be the hub cover from your steering hub scraping the plastic interior. And she looks at me like I'm crazy, right? Like I did something wrong. Like, bro, it's your car. Is this the car you built? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, man.
So,
it's
kind of back to that, kind of back to that passive thing. And I think, Adrian being in America for some time now, I'm sure Cody can attest to this as well. Yes, being in Japan, they're very passive when it comes to, kind of shying away from your business or trying to bring your business down their way. I've experienced that a lot, especially in the last probably 2 years. We've had a lot of, I build custom bikes. That's what I specialize in. Can I build a car? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I build custom bikes. I love what I do, man. But I've got other shops that started popping up in my area. You know what I mean? For a while, I was the only shop within 150 miles that you can get fabrication, paint, and body work done at the same place. You know what I mean? And we'll put a cam in and send it off for tune, But, now we got more shops coming up that are capable of doing that. And I'm not, I always tell them, look, man, there's plenty of business for everybody. There's no need to be greedy. If they prefer you over me, that's fine. You're not going to hurt my fucking feelings. Take your money somewhere else. I don't need it. You know what I mean? Would I like it? Of course. But is it going to break the bank for me? No. I'm still going to put food on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I see that a lot lately in the last probably 2 to 3 years, I would say. We got a lot of shops popping up, and you hear via word of mouth by one of my previous customers or one of my current customers, oh man, you were closed on Saturday, so I had to go over and check this new shop out and put a tire on. You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, that's cool, man. I was like, hey, look, if I wasn't available, I get it, dude. My weekends are for me and my family. But he comes back, he's like, oh yeah, man, they were saying some shit about you, and and they're saying that you don't do good work or this, that, and the third. I'm like, they can say what they want until they set foot in my shop and do what I do. They can keep their mouth shut and keep working. I was like, because at the end of the day, I was like, what they're saying about me, somebody's saying tenfold about them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm gonna do me and I'm gonna get mine. You know what I mean? And that's just the kind of mindset you got to have, especially in this industry. It's very cutthroat, and you guys all know that. You know what I mean? It's very cutthroat. You got to do what you got to do, man.
I'm friendly as fuck.
As far as somebody talking about you, man, if they're talking about you, man, you're obviously a threat, man. Like, I mean, because myself personally, if I go on about some stuff, like when I first opened, like I was in that stage. I know everybody's been there where you're like, and I see it when you guys start, and it's kind of like, dude, I look like that when you're like, I'm doing this X like this, XYZ is not doing that. So it's like you're comparing yourself to other people, and it's like, dude, just let your work speak, dude. And I'm pretty sure it's the same thing, man, for you, John. Like, it's just like, let your work speak, and people are going to talk. And like you said, 100%, if they're not face to face looking you in your eye, both your eyes, it don't fucking mean nothing, dude.
Exactly. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm gonna do me and I'm gonna get mine. You know what I mean? No matter what, my customers are gonna always come back to me because I make sure I do quality work. And I get it. You know, shit happens, dude. You know, I just rebuilt a Harley. I just rebuilt a Harley motor, and the rings failed. I can't control that. The rings failed because we got a faulty part. Got it, dude. You know what I mean? But come back, and you won't pay another penny out of pocket. I'm going to rebuild your top end again and reset your rings, put new rings in. You know what I mean? Because that's what I warranty. That's what I guarantee, and I know my customer's going to come back. You know, so at the end of the day, like,
So
they keep talking. It is what it is.
Adrian, I want you to jump in on this too, man, because I think there's a I don't know, like a feeling, almost a need when you first start your business, right? You're like trying to justify your work almost. You know?
Yeah.
Or trying to find ways to set yourself apart when there's not a need to do that, you know?
Yeah, there's not. And it's something that I struggled with, right? I mean, Donald, you've seen me talk about it. You know, I've seen way back in the day, you know, comparison, and you've gotten to the point now where you're like, with your own products, you just take them out and fucking run them. Like, I remember when you took your coilovers, I think it was your coilovers and your wheels out to Laguna Seca, right? You took both products.
Yeah.
And you get to the point where it's like, fine, bro, like, I don't need to justify it to you until you put down a lap time. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, and I had a guy.
Oh, my bad. I had to cut you off because I got to see this, man. Well, when to go back to your question you asked in the beginning, something about Japan. You guys, I'll make sure I follow all you guys for sure after this, man. But if I don't already, and Tsukuba, I went to this one thing. It was Pro IZ, whatever. I talked to him. I told him I would never drive for him again, under him again. Staff was nice, but the owner was an F2, F3 driver. I did about 4 events, and on a third event, I had my coilovers out there, and I did the American thing, man. I'm like, all right, this is my product, blah blah blah. I made a cool video, and I just had random names. I know one guy had Aragosta, one guy had RSR, one guy had BC. I could see the colors, so I just put like random names in there, and it was showing me passing all these cars, and I got banned. I got soft banned from the event, and I signed up the next time. They said, you can't enter the event because you don't speak Japanese. I've already done 4 events, completely done. No off-track incursions, no issues, drivers meeting on time, pit, no everything, no trash, nothing. And essentially, so he said I couldn't understand Japanese, so I tagged him on Twitter to another group. Like had them like kind of fighting each other. He was like, yeah, you can drive as long as you understand the flags, green, red, blah blah blah. And I was like, thanks. And I went to their event. Staff was awesome, and the other staff was there too, man. So within 24 hours, Tsukuba owner contacted me and said, "Go Minasai," and then they contacted me back, and I said, "Thanks, but I'll never drive for your stuff again. No reason to email me." So my thing is like, that's a lesson learned for them. Don't fuck around like that. And number 2 is like, your buddy that's driving the NSX that had the BC coilovers on it or whatever, just be better. I mean, that's what it is. So it was me, the only American there, driving laps around there, guys, and they couldn't stand it, man. So that shit happened.
You know, I got to jump in on. Hold on, Adrian, I got to jump on this real quick, dude, because it goes directly to what Donald just said. So that whole you don't speak and understand Japanese thing is one of the tools they use to 100%. Keep foreign competitors out. So and it doesn't stop at like regional events, right, or a single racetrack. So when we had, because GR from Toyota, GR Rally Race Series wanted to extend down to Okinawa and do a tarmac stage down there, right? And everyone started building rally cars. Like all the old guys were like, holy shit, a real race series. I'm going to get my fucking GR Yaris all geared up, right? And then they started coming down. First it was, oh, you got to run 14-inch wheels, just like WRC kind of thing. And then as they got a shit ton of foreign entries coming in, because like a lot of the military guys were like, hell yeah, a real race, just like back in the States, I'm going to do something, even though I've never rally raced. They came down with, you have to be fluent reading, writing, and Japanese to compete.
Bullshit.
And this became a huge thing because the shop that I used to work next door to was the JAF president for Okinawa, right? So he was the one interfacing directly with this. And it became a huge thing because it's like, well, most 90% of our entries are going to be foreigners down here in Okinawa. You can't ban all the Okinawan competitors. And they're like, we can, we will. So, it's just as a tool they use, man, and they'll hold to it.
Well, I seen Brett just comment about the Japanese, man. I spoke full Japanese the whole time to the staff, man. So it's not about learning; it's about the guy used the tool, like he just said, man. I speak enough Japanese to get around. Nihongo skoshidaki hanasemasu. No problem. I can speak Japanese. It's just that the guy didn't like the video, and instead of saying, "Hey, man, I don't like the video," he's a bitch, and he just says simply that I couldn't enter the event because one of his buddies that I passed. Blew their fucking doors off in a timed event at Tsukuba. I'm driving 8 hours down there for 30-minute session. I'm not gonna go out there and pussyfoot, man. So I'm full throttle, at least 90% because I'm not trying to break some stuff up, but that's what it was, man. So like you can speak fluent Japanese. But the one thing I'll remind guys out there, and there's a lot of Americans here who think that they're Japanese. You're not fucking Tanaka, like it's on Bloodsport. You're not a Tanaka. You're not Japanese, and no matter what, as soon as you fuck up one time, they'll let you know that you're not Japanese, man. So I keep that stored in my mind because I've been in a situation where I thought we were cool, and then it turns out we're not cool, and we're in front of a bunch of people, and they're like, he did this or this, blah blah blah. It's misunderstanding, and so I love Japan, but I'm not Japanese. I'm from Baltimore City, man, and I keep that energy and tempo all the time, and my wife hates it, but it is what it is, man.
Adrian, what you got, man? I know you got some stuff to say about this.
All right, I actually do have a couple things. To tie into the whole, hey, when you get started, you have that urge of like, hey, I'm the best at this, or I have a superior product. Like I did that, and I did it when I first started, and I tried to push it, and I'd get into the local group chats and be like, yeah, guys, like this is what I do. You're not like I try to draw comparisons of what you get with me versus somebody else. And I just realized I was wasting so much fucking time doing that and pushing that. And I still had like customers coming to me. Like I still had people coming to me with questions that I could recommend and be like, go to Seth for parts, go here, go there, keeping things real. Because I hate being biased. Like I hate hopping on clout trains and being like, yeah, fucking FDF is hot right now. Like, go get FDF, go get Wisefab, go get BC over Silvers or vice versa. Like, I hate doing that shit. I'm just like, look, this is the facts about all these fucking parts. It's going to break here. It's going to work great there. Pick what suits your driving style or your racing budget and make your choice. And then they're like, yeah, I want X, Y, and Z parts. And I'm like, look, if you go to Z1 or you go to Njuku or you go to Seth, like, they're going to get you the best bang for this specific part. So if you've got 3 parts and you source them from 3 different places, you're probably going to save a couple $100 overall. Like, go do that. But yeah, even right now, dude, like I moved back to Florida and I started doing the 5K grassroots series, and it was the same thing. It was like market, and I was just wasting time because at that point everybody had already heard it, and it's like if they heard something that caught their attention, they were going to sign up. And instead of just pushing it and being persistent with it, I had to take a step back and be like, what's actually going to bring the people out? Like, they already know the competition's going on. They already know it's $5,000 cash and prizes that we're handing out. Like, what else is there? And I think when you get caught up in that drawing comparisons and trying to prove yourself, you kind of forget what makes things important and like finding your niche and actually making yourself different. Also, the social media thing, because that got touched on. Dude, Donald, I've been following you since I like first got out to Japan, and I got into Michia with drifting, and he mentioned Tony, and I followed Tony, and I saw that Tony and you were friends, and you guys were doing some events with like King of Asia at that time.
Yeah.
And I followed you, I added you on Facebook, and man, your social media, like the way you were interacting back then, was completely different, like from the norm, right? You were being upfront, like transparent, and I genuinely admired that. Then all the way to now, dude, like you've always been upfront with tuning checklists, what you're going to allow at your shop. Like you were being selective. And just real quick, nowadays we know how important social media is to expanding, getting big, getting the viewers, getting the outreach, getting sponsors. And like I know I struggle with that because I can't be a Barbie doll. Like I can't be a Ken doll. I am who I am. I'm gonna race how I'm gonna race, and if that means I got to build my own damn car, like so be it. And if that keeps me out of making it in a Formula Drift, whatever. But like for you, like, do you find a struggle in how you interact and use your social media with aligning with what's popular?
That's kind of when I battle it like kind of weekly. I'll be like, I want to do this or post that, and as I'm glad your key word was like when I first started. The first 5 years, it was like hit twice a day. Now you kind of see it's like once every 2 days because honestly, unless it's like a big build or something unusual, you can go to the search bar and put RB26 time belt and like 12 will pop up. After 12 posts about timing jobs or whatever, obviously I can do it. After 6 posts of just doing a basic engine rebuild with a bore up, you can it's the same thing. So the biggest thing now I got to and that's how I thought. But like a lot of times where the guys are 23 or 20, I think 22 and under, those dudes unless it's right in their face, those dudes don't search for shit. So when I post a video from 2006, they're like, dude, like you look good out there. I'm like, yeah, that was 2006, dude. Like that was 2006, so it's 2024. Obviously, I'm better. But you'll post an old video. So now I've been just recycling old shit because these guys don't go back and search 2 years ago, and they think it's what's what, man. So with the social media stuff, man, sometimes there's some stuff I actually didn't post. So some things I did post and everything, man, and it's like, dude, I'd rather just put it out there how I am and people take it how they want to take it. I'm not trying to appeal to nobody. I get kind of heat every time because guys are like, hey man, like you should send a pair of your coolers to Nakamura or blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, number one, there's some like pseudo beef with us because he's PinkuStyle and I'm PinkuStyle. PinkuStyle derived from his girlfriend, whatever, after Team Burst disbanded. My business is a registered business in Japan and America. So you got a group and you got a business. Which one is a higher hierarchy? But now Nakamura is more of a popular driver. Honestly, he's no more worldwide. So people are going to side with him. So you get people saying things and blah, blah, blah. Or why don't you, send LZ this or send Samet this or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, all those guys respect to what they do. But they are, they're doing giveaways and they're doing this, they're doing that. Like people are following these guys, man, to get something for free, dude. And I felt like I was cheapening my product by giving stuff away or doing whatever. Cause it's like, dude, I don't have that money to do that. Once I get a lot of money in the bank, then I can afford to give away a set of coilovers. I need that money to pay off bills and pay this stuff, man. So with the social media stuff, I'm young enough where I was around when the internet first came out. So that's a kudos for all of us. But I'm now to the point at 41 where it's like, dude, I don't care about appealing to everybody out there. Everybody's not for me, and I'm not for everybody, man. So I just keep it like that. Whoever wants to vibe with me we can do it. And when we go to like a meeting, and Adrian, of course, I followed you and known of you for a while. We never met in person. You left before I can get down there and meet you. But it's like when I show up, if I show up Okinawa, I don't say, hey, I'm down at Jackson Pro, like drifter, blah, 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 D1 license. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. And then when you find out or see me at the track, then you're like, oh yeah. So I think it's better to be like that, man. If nobody asks for information, just don't give it out, man.
I would agree. I agree with that 100%. I really do, man. And it's the same thing applies when I go to a show and they see the bike, they see the paint, they see the motor, and they're at, let them ask the questions. Let my work speak for itself. I don't have to shove myself down somebody's throat.
Dude, I gotta jump on that because it's so funny, man. It's one, Donald, man, I'm the same way as you. Like, you either like me or you don't fucking like me. I don't really give a shit, right? Like, it is what it is, bro.
I almost spit my drink.
You've been there since the fucking start, dude. You've seen the polarizing effect I had in Okinawa with people.
Salty ass old fart.
Shut up. So we one of the things that made me laugh, man, is as my shop grew in Okinawa, I wasn't able to get out of the shop as much, right? Being a one-man shop. Yeah. So we had people that knew my work and they knew the brand name, but they didn't know who I was. And so right before I left Japan, I started going to customs night again every now and then. And I'd walk around and people had no idea who I was. But they're like, oh, yeah, the cars that come out of that shop are fucking super fast. But I heard the owners.
Hey,
yeah, I heard that too, man. What a prick.
Yeah, fuck that, Gary.
Hey, but it's always been like that because even before the shop took off and, we were all just dicking around in your garage and we would slip out for our little nightly, get out into the community. Yeah. Everybody knew you were the dick, bro, and nobody knew your face. And we would all just sit there joking around and gassing it up and be like, yeah, dude, that Seth guy, that tuner guy sucks. Like, he's an asshole,
that guy, bro.
Right?
He'll blow your shit up.
With you there, we would do it as your friend circle around.
And his dumb ass would feed into it.
Yeah, these randoms would just chime in and be like, yeah, man, he blew my buddy's car up. And it's like he never fucking tuned the car in the first place.
Well, I think some of that has to come from me too, because people would ask me like, hey, where would you get this part or who would you go talk to? And I'm like, go to Wander and Gaijin and talk to Seth, but look, have your shit together, ask your questions and don't pester him because he's a fucking asshole. Just say what you need to say, ask your questions, but he's a good dude, just you don't know him well enough to be sitting in the shop asking a million questions.
That's the best.
And if you are, or if you do know him that well, just know that a wrench might be fucking thrown at you.
Well, that's the best kind of advice to give to somebody who want to go to the shop. And I got guys here, Mike and both Mike's, Mike Hendrickpool. Those guys will give when they say they recommend a shop, and then they give you PinkuStyle, but email them, don't just show up. They give them the rundown. And then I get the guys who will send guys here, and I'm like, dude, you've came to my shop, you've seen my order. Why would you just send this guy here? So I've been here a while, and I've had the guys pull up and everything, and I'm like, before they get out their car, I'm like this. I'm at ECP stopping them. Like, what do you need? Here's the card later. Because
ID card.
You know how it is, man. It's dude, that. Especially if I got a piston in my hand, I'm gapping some rings. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna put that thing down and then fucking flip the fucking ring upside down, which now I'm pumping all into the crankcase. It's like shit like that happened, man. Before, a ground wire missed or trying to make a customer. So it's dude, when the guys recommend you, they should recommend and say, hey, man, he doesn't fuck around. He's not nice. His time is short. And my thing is a lot. I think, and again, I know all you guys would agree, man. When people hey, man, are you free? Are you this? I'm like, dude, I'm never free, dude. I just posted a video yesterday, me doing a lot of shit in an hour. And it's there's no free time unless I got time for. I'm making time for you guys right now because it's worth my time to meet and talk to you guys. But so many people out there are used to that free this, free that, and I think because you're a single guy, I get the most offense I take to anything is when guys assume that because I'm a single guy here at the shop that I don't have the same worth as a Circuit City or a Best Buy or a large shop. It's nah, bro. I pay taxes. I got accounting. I got everything that an official business got, and they just assume because you're a single guy they can pick up their car at 7. I'm like, nah, you can pick it up at fucking 1,500. Like I said, because we're gonna have a meeting for 30 minutes and you're gonna go. I'm not open at 8 o'clock because you think I should be open. So that when they try to pull that, and I know all of you guys have gotten that shit. So I'm preaching to the choir. When they assume because you're a single dude, they can just set their shit or whatever. So people know with me, man. I set it up front. I put all the unpleasant shit up front. And it's if you want to come back. So some guys are one and done, never see them again. And then when I see them in fucking the commissary, the cereal aisle, they just walk away or they go the other way because they think I'm going to beat them up and shit. I'm like, dude, you got options, take them. But when your car is fucked up,
Like
you're not coming back here.
it's not that deep, bro. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
100%.
I'm not going to put
100%.
that much effort into something I really don't give a shit about. You know what I mean? And Donald, I 100% agree, man. And it's not just being a single man shop. It's also, you know, I've got a team of 4. You know what I mean? And it's the 4 of us. There's times where I tell my guy, I'm like, hey, you know, hey, you go handle that, dude. I got a fucking, you know, like you said, I got a piston on my hand, or I'm fucking, you know, lapping valves and some shit. I'm like, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to come talk to you. You could have called, you could have made an appointment, you could have emailed me, you know, but 100%. You decided to just drop in. You know what I mean? And you're showing up 10 minutes before I close. I'm not staying past 5 o'clock. Dog. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Like, whether you like it or not, I'm out of here. I had a guy.
Quick question, man. Quick question. That's what it starts with. Quick question, man.
Yeah, quick question.
Exactly. Hey,
nothing's
quick question,
fucking quick.
And then there's 45 minutes. Like, bro, shut the fuck up and let me go home.
Dude, I got a buddy that's just like that though. Like it's because I interact with everybody on social media, and then I'm just like, hey, drop your car off, because I don't run a full business. I just do it on the side, help the people out that need it, and it gets to the point where I've got people all across the United States that I'm good friends with, and I'll just be sitting there, finally taking a break, sitting down with the kids, and I get a text message just like, hey man, quick question.
No.
You know, and then the question always ends up being something super intricate that I know if I say it in simple terms, they're not going to understand it and be perceptive to it. So you have to explain it. And then I'm sitting there writing a book.
No, archive.
Like, I hope you read it.
You don't need to call me. Don't call me out like that.
No, listen. No, and this is for the general consensus. A quick question to everybody else is, all right, I got a quick question, man. Hey, I want to make 1,000 horsepower on my RB, and I want this turbo. Go. Motherfucker, that's not a quick question. Like, I got to write you a whole goddamn write-up for it.
That's the thing is, I think everybody in this podcast right now has a lot of experience. Like, I'm probably still a beginner compared to Donald. And, I know my responses are super long and detailed with the knowledge that I have. And I know Donald probably has a shit ton more experience and he could elaborate on certain things. But, you know, people are just like, hey, I want a knuckle for drifting. And I'm like, well, you got quick steer knuckles, you got deep angle knuckles, like you've got wide
that's like Forrest Gump and a shrimp type, dude. It's like there's a lot of different types of shrimp.
That's like Seth with the whole, hey, just check the cue card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it is. I actually learned, man. I learned so, I mean, you guys know, man, I get super intricate with my shit, right? That's one of the things that I think defines my tuning apart from a lot of the guys tuning out there is I'm super detail oriented. Booty actually was riding my ass while I was on the dyno the other day. He's like, why are you staying at steady state for so long? I'm like, because I'm tuning that cell. And then I'm gonna stay at steady state to tune the next cell. And I'm gonna do that 644 fucking times. Right? He's like, yeah, but you could just interpolate. I'm like, no.
Nah.
Right?
There's a time and place for it, but yeah.
I love Booty, man, but I was like, no, that's just not how I do shit. I'm like, we're gonna take 9 hours. I'm gonna tune this car, and it's gonna be 100% across that whole map every fucking time if it comes off my dyno, because I can. Right? But hold on, Cody. The thing is too is I've learned, because I've lost customers when they come in and they're like, I got a question. I want 1,000 horsepower on my RV, or I want, hey, my car's doing this thing. Why is it doing this? And I'm like, I'll catch myself just going down the rabbit hole. Be like, well, because your stroke to your bore ratio is now no longer square. So, right? And they're like, you just watch glass kind of form over their fucking eyes. You're like, I lost them.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't realize how much. They don't realize how much 400 horsepower really is. It's because the Hellcats and things are coming out with whatever X amount of horsepower. Now, back in the day when you say you had 430, that was a big deal back 20 years ago, man. 2002, 2001 is when I got my first car, man. 99 is when I started really getting into it. 97 is when I started liking cars. But back then, man, running a 14 at the track, and that was a big deal, dude. Now, if you're running 14s, why are you going to the Drake?
Dude.
Yeah, that's slow.
Why are you showing up?
13.7 at 100. Yeah, that was my fastest time, dude. That was a big deal.
That's when you
My
show
wife-
up and fucking be like, oh yeah, man, pull a Fast and the Furious 1. You owe me a 10-second car. But like, yeah, 10 seconds ain't fast no more, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My-
you owe
my
me a 10
wife-
second car. Like, do you want the Corolla or you want the Nissan Sentra? Which one do you want?
Yeah. It's like,
my wife's Suburban will run 13s
2024
with
Prius?
8 people in it.
yeah, man.
All day
So,
too. It'll do it all day.
Yeah. Wait, man, real quick, I
But it
want to say,
was.
man, I want to say, because I watched the podcast a lot, man, and I'm pretty sure you guys have touched on it. The guys are watching, and it from the outside looking in, it can seem like we're all like grouches or mean guys or whatever. It's like, nah, dude, we're extremely busy dudes. We deal with a lot of people. And like Adrian was saying, for the message, like in the way your business is set up, it can run a certain kind of way. But for me, man, I do the promotion. And dude, and for guys who are out there who are wondering why I didn't message you back, I archive your messages so that I'm not hiding. When I post every time down on the PinkuStyle.com for business, like literally every post, man. So when you message me, that means number one, fuck your protocol. So that's how I take it. Fuck your protocol, fuck your time. It doesn't matter. And when guys come here and say a quick question, and I say I'm busy, but this, and I get them out of there, then those guys for 4 years in Masawa or they Epcot or whatever, I'm the worst guy in the world, dude, to them. So for that reason, man, it's just like whatever, dude. I'm not gonna let people dictate my time. And like John said, people like I just had somebody just drove away just now. So guys will have like you're with your family, man, and like that. That's why I don't do social media, because I don't want guys messaging me like that. Email sorts everybody else. So all my clients, man, once the guys get to the lift, they're great people, man. It's just they know how it works, but. So I don't want to, guys that are watching, it seems like we're mean people or whatever. We're not mean. We got a lot of shit going on.
We value our time. I mean, plain and simple. We value our time. Like,
yeah. And none of our cars fucking run. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but none of my cars run. So
that's a fact.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
My car's parked.
Yeah.
My car's parked in your garage. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like right outside. So it's like I want to get my shit running, dude. I need your money so I can get my shit running. And I don't want and trust me, we fucking know we got your shit because we need the money, or you've already paid half the stuff, man. So like when guys email me, I tell them I do not need anybody to check on me, and I don't care who the fuck it is, man. So I've had people go from good to like get the car back, and then they never recommend or whatever. The car is great, so they can't say anything bad, but I shut them down. I didn't want them popping in, so I just, like Adrian said, man, I put all the shit up front. I remove guys that's dropping in, and then when a new guy comes here, I did get better about like not fucking shooing them right away. I'll give them 5 minutes because they came here. So I'm like, hey man, respect for coming here. Here's a card. Appointment only. What's your name? Where you from? Build that camaraderie, and then send them out. Because the first 5 years, dude, I was like, dude, go away, dude. I'm fucking busy. And arguments like right in front of the shop. One guy, I messaged you, and I'm like, dude, I don't fucking care about you messaging me. Like you're here talking to me. You're a grown man, and you're pulling out your phone that I was told you put back in your pocket because we're talking. I need to read the email, and then I read the fucking email. He spelled it DONADDL. Like you spelled my fucking name wrong. So email never came, dude. And
Yeah, dude.
and I like fighting too, man. So I don't. It's I'm not looking for a fight, man, but it's like I'm not gonna back down, dude. So you got the wrong.
He's from
guy.
Baltimore, man. Y'all heard it.
Yeah.
They keep it 100. You know what I mean? But that's 100%, man. And real quick, like again, we value our time, dude. We're all busy. We all got families. Every single buddy on this podcast got a family.
Right.
Okay. If I show up at 9, I show up from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Those are my business hours. You can't respect that. I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to come in on a Saturday when I could be taking my family to the beach. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just so you can come pick up your bike. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Oh, well, you only live a mile from your shop, but I'm like, yeah, no, I live a mile from my shop, but doesn't mean I got to be there on Saturday. You know what I mean? Like. You can take your shit and take it somewhere else because quite frankly, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's 100 more people like you that are willing to spend money. The other thing too is like, I had a customer recently come up. Oh man, I gave you a $300 deposit. I'm like, that's cool, man. I was like, you see that bike over there? That's a $5,000 deposit. That bike over there, that's a $10,000 deposit. I'm like, I promise you are not the big spender here. Okay, so you respect my time, and when I tell you, hey, we're backed up, it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks before I touch your bike. That means it's 3 to 4 weeks before I diagnose it. Not before I get into it, before I diagnose the issue. Okay, before I touch that bike, literally. You know what I mean? So, respect our time. That's all we're asking for. We're cool guys, but respect our time.
one thing, Juan, I think you kind of touched on is, and Donald, going back to what you said too, man, is we're not necessarily grumpy dudes, right? Like this podcast is a place for us to get together and bullshit, and that's what we started it. But we take every customer serious. Like we take on the job, man. We're saying, yeah, I'm gonna put my name on that, right? So it's gonna get done. It's gonna get done right. At least I know
100%.
the shop's sitting in here. But with that said, yeah, one, you got to respect our processes as shops, right? It's the way that we keep shit organized, and that's what a lot of clients I think don't realize is like there's so much chaos because as a client you're thinking I'm the only one when there's 75 of you, and I got to track 75 of you, right? What you're asking for, your back orders. Did I remember to do your build? Or was
you just need more staff though, man. That's the key. More staff. That's it.
Yeah, more staff. But and it's not easy to. You just hire more staff, and
you just hire more staff. Yeah.
And then two, hey man, I get it. You got a wide spectrum of dudes out there, right? You got the 22-year-old with his first car that thinks $15,000 is big baller money. Hey, you got the 65-year-old neurosurgeon that's going through a midlife crisis that wants his 300ZX back, right, from 1991 that he had when he was 20 years old and had to sell to pay off his student loan or something.
Again,
right?
calling me back. Call me out.
Hey, go bury your fucking body, bro. All right.
Yeah, for real, dude.
So, but the thing is, dude, it's big money to you doesn't necessarily mean it's big money to the shop, right? So you can't approach the shop with that attitude. Right. Like, I had a guy say, he's like, man, I've spent like $25,000 here. And I was like, look, man, I'm not going to be a dick to you, but that guy has spent over 100K doing a ground up build.
And he fucking leaves you alone. He leaves you.
Yeah,
bro, the rich people always leave you alone.
Yeah,
the people that spend the money, like
almost like scare you, leave you alone. Like I'm like, hey man, we cool because I got the car and like it's been 3 years and this guy keeps adding on. It's a 32 man. He was that 32. The silver one, white wheels. It was in Okinawa. I forgot. Sandon sold it to him, and yeah, man. So this guy just keeps adding on and adding on. I do have a car that's a super that's been here for about like almost a year and a half because he bought it here and then like he wanted to go to Naprick and do this. Naprick took Naprick. It took 6 months to get like the stuff done. Then I'm like, dude, in that 6 months, and I know you all go through this. We don't fucking stop when your parts delayed. We go to the next job, and then when we get to like the completion, then we come circle back. So like,
exactly,
that's the biggest thing that people don't understand, man. It's like, yeah, I got your parts. They're right here. If you want to come pick them up, and you'll pay a deposit for your car sitting here. Blah blah blah. So one thing I don't do here, I don't take cars until I'm ready to work on them. And as the last like 7 months, I had to now I have cars here and no parts, and it's like, and most of the guys are going exporting, so I don't like having a person's car. Like, hey, come pick it up, keep it at your garage. It's not a liability, but that's the biggest thing that a lot of guys don't understand, man. Since COVID, I hate to fucking saying that word, but it's been a thing. Parts have been delayed, and in Japan, what I do with my wheels is cook the order. When you buy the wheels, you kind of make them, and 30 days later you get them. Japan has been doing that shit since the beginning of the time, but because it's work, the LMGTs or whatever. They allow those guys to take 6-7 months to get their stuff, and they won't bug them. But if you, like Seth was doing an oil filler next, and they had an issue with the screw, hey man, what the fuck, you gonna get this and get that? Like, dude, I got to get parts first. The parts are delayed. Then I got to get time to weld it and fix it and do all this stuff, man. So they won't give smaller. I hate to fucking say the word small business, but it is what it is. The classification, number of employees, blah blah blah, tax brackets. But they give those guys so much fucking leadway because they're, top secret or whatever. But with you, man, like you're 2 weeks off, they're like hounding you. So that's only with guys that don't generally know you. But for the most part, like, again, I want to say this, preface this, man. All my clients, I mean, in the 8 years I've been open, I've had like maybe 1 or 2 guys, man, maybe 3 that like I would never want to see again because I'll probably punch them in the fucking face, man. And other than that, man, everybody else has been great. They've been great people, respectful. So when I post this, it's that 1 or 2 dudes that I do, and like Adrian said, what I do is before you go, right after we have an argument, before you even fucking get back to your dorm, I'm like, blah blah blah. This is what happened. So when he says what he says, I'm already ahead of it. I am my own HR, my own PR. So I'm not gonna allow you to spin some story. And then when I fucking see you at the hobby shop, don't come up to me and approach me, man. We're done. And that's one thing I'm
gonna get smacked in the fucking mouth.
I won't do anything physical to but just talking alone for these new guys, and looking them in their eyes, that's all the intimidation you need. They give you a wet fucking handshake. They don't look you in the eyes, and they're on their phone while hey man, when you said in this message, like, hey man, I'm talking to you right now. Pay attention. So you're teaching these fucking dudes how to be men, and it's like that's the problem you have right now. It's like dudes are not men. They want instant gratification. They want to follow the trends and all that stuff like that, man. So it's like, hey, dude, if that guy's popping, so when I'm I can say this because the director didn't say there's no NDA, but the Live Hoon 2, I'm going to be featured in a film. The movie I was promoting, I'm going to be involved in a film in some facet. Can't say too much, but I can say that. So what's going to happen once that movie comes out? All these droves of people are going to come to these events now that I was holding, and now I'm going to be like, fuck off, dude, because you knew about my event, but you didn't come because I wasn't popular enough. So now that I'm worthy or worth it, now you want to come back. So all those missed messages from I sent to Alexia Nariaro, and I sent to all these guys to be on the podcast. So now when it's popping, and even T-Pain and all those guys, I message those guys, and this is me talking candid to everybody. I message all these guys to collaborate, but because it's not popping, I'm not winning, blah, blah, blah. Once I start winning and once things start popping, quote unquote, I'm going to remember that. So it's going to be fuck off, lesson learned, man, and call it petty or whatever. But if I gave you my time and you messaged me and I blew you off, man, and I message you, then the next message is like 5 years later, hey, man, can you give me some VSKFs? Like, no, I can't. So that stuff right there, man, is where like, people don't value your time. And again, man, anytime somebody comes to my podcast, man, I feel like we're like friends or whatever, because like you're giving your time, and time is important. We all got families, like you said before, and we could be with the families right now doing things, but we're here talking to each other and talking to the guys up there. So I just value time, and when you don't value mine, it's an instant cut off, and I move on, man. And I don't feel bad about it. I don't lose sleep about it, man. So call me, I'm edgy or whatever, aggressive. The same way you see me on Facebook, YouTube, it's the same way I'll talk to you face to face. And I've already name dropped some guys, the Sammits and all these guys like that. They're fake as fuck. I don't like them. They've been in my shop. I run them away from my shop. They don't pull no cameras out because they know I don't play that shit. They go to some other shops and they hang from the rafters. And, if you fall off that rafter and you die, now you got an insurance claim, but you're not going to do that at my shop. So all those guys like that, man, that they want to, go around events are fucked up because everybody's everybody knows each other, but they won't fucking talk to each other in person. I was at Atlanta Motor Speed Park, and all these guys, I'm like, dude, I think you're on my friend list, and they just fucking walk right by you. And it's like, dude, that shit's lame, dude. So like the social media is really fucking up social interaction in person. Like they'll talk all that shit online, and you'll be buddies for 5 years and get to the same car meet, and they just look at you and stare at you. So that's the thing now. And, not mentioning invite events and the hot boy events and all stuff like that. I sound salty, man, but it's not salty. It's just, it is what it is. So when you guys wonder why I don't talk to some guys or I don't go to some events or do this and blah, 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 it's because I'm not a fake person. And if I see that person there, I'm going to say something to avoid me being a bad guy or the aggressor. I just remove myself from that car meet. I don't go to car meets. I don't go to Cars and Coffee, because when I see your shit box there, I'm going to point out that you got 2 fucking fuel pressure regulators. You got a regulator regulating. You got intercooler couplers with no beads on it.
It's the regulators, bro.
Yeah, and if I drove your shit at the track 2 laps and everything blows apart, your car is not good. Sorry, dude. And so to not be that guy and not go off with people like that, I just stay away from them. So that's why anybody out there watching, why I don't go to MSP anymore? Why? Because there's a handful of jealous people there that they're good drifters, but they stopped at this level. I've exceeded that level. And now that they don't know how to handle it. So it's just be shitty to him, or I say, konnichiwa, you just fucking look at me. So no more konnichiwas for you, bitch.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So sorry, guys. I rant like this on my own podcast. That's what I do. So.
Oh, no, you're straight, dog. You're straight, dog.
This is the place for it.
But this,
Yeah.
I want to go back to, people with talking about, well, I gave you a $15,000 deposit or $20,000 deposit. Well, quality work takes time. If you care about your money that much, then I would hope that you care about your product that much, or your car. And you would expect, I would rather the car take 6 months to get back in my hands and be right the first time than me having to go and pester the shop or whoever over and over and over again because it's fucked up, because that person wanted to quickly get the car out of the shop versus doing it right the first time. Like, if it takes 6 months to get my car back, well, then I'm probably going to fucking forget that I have that car. And when I get it back, it's gonna be like a fucking birthday surprise all over again. Like,
Oh my
It's
God,
Christmas
I
in
have a
July.
holy shit!
I
I
gotta say something on that, because it's something that I did not understand before I started a business. How many people actually do not give a shit about their car or their parts? And I say that because, you know, I used to see that, I forget which shop it was, man. It was a shop back in America, and they literally had to come get all this shit off my shelves. If you can find it, you can have it. And I was like, turbochargers, engine blocks, fucking ridiculous shit just sitting on this like shelf, right? I'm like, why would you give that away? Also, where did it come from? And then I opened my shop, and I had people leave entire 13Bs on my floor and move out of Japan and never pick up their engine.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
Donald, if you don't know,
I forget a lot of shit, bro, but I've never forgot a whole fucking engine.
well, Donald, if you don't know, I used to bring shit to Seth all the time. When I lived in Okinawa, my wife drove this Toyota Wish. I think there's a picture somewhere, but I fit 2 whole FDs minus the chassis in the back of this Toyota Wish, and was like, Seth, I found all this stuff for you. You know, can you not throw a wrench at me today while I hold your transmission? Like, but it was 2 engines, 2 transmissions, crazy.
Dude, Seth,
like
the
body
collector
kits,
of fucking rotary
wheels,
irons, bro.
all kinds of shit.
Yeah. Hey, Cody and Adrian, man, like, of course, Seth, we already talked about it, man. I went to Okinawa for that first round of the Drift Mod 30, dude. I've been there 15 years, now 16, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'll get there eventually, man. Like, dude, it's an awesome place, dude. Like, I would go there before I don't like Tokyo, because too many I call them terrorists or foreigners or whatever you want to call them, or the tourists. But there's too many people there. But Okinawa, man, like Okinawa, the vibe was definitely cool, man. I like the chill environment. The chicks are definitely cool to look at.
It's the Hawaii of Japan, dog.
It's cool, man. And so much so that, as you guys probably heard, man, I'm setting up operation on there, man. The only reason I'm doing that is because Seth is out of there. I would never even thought about it when Seth was there, because honestly, I'm not, you know, he's doing things there. So I went down there. One thing I see about Okinawa, man, is, and I've already called it out, is there's a lot of infighting, man. And you know, there's a lot of instead of making money together, everybody's trying to bump their stuff, and it's such a small place that everybody's going to run into each other, or that you're going to overlap. And I just seen, as a business mind, it's never run. Like, there was certain guys I talked to in the pits that they were like, hey man, blah blah blah, next time you come down, we'll get you. And then everybody was trying to like sell themselves to me. I'm like, dude, I'm not for sale. I can get down here by myself and blah blah blah. And I just happened to, when I first came down, Brett and those guys at Okinawa Auto Spa, they were the first guys to hit me back up. And I'm like, dude, they were cool. I talked to them. They got the car. I had to go down there and get the car running, and we had some issues and whatever. Things were still cool. But they I just seen a lot. There's business going on there, but I guess outside looking in, I'm like, dude, like, there's a lot of money not being made down here, because you're worrying about what he's doing. He's worrying about what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. It's small. As far as like geographically, I see like everything is kind of clustered around the base, and there's, you know, noise complaints and stuff like that. So it's not that I'm just trying to do something different, man. Because again, there's no satellite top secret. There's no satellite MCR. Like, so everybody, it's already out there. The plans out there, but I'm going to set up down there and there at some facet, get some stuff going, because there's money to be made, and it's my money, so nobody can tell me I can't come. You know what I'm saying? So I already know there's going to be some guys there saying, hey man, you should kind of stay in your lane on the main lane. I'm like, dude, that's the biggest thing I say about Okinawa, is you guys alienate yourself down there, because you built this fucking wall between Fukuoka and fucking Okinawa, and then you wonder why people don't want to come down there and do stuff, because you kind of get the Hawaii thing where, like, don't come on my fucking, you don't hit my waves, dude. We don't know you don't fucking surf here. So that same kind of thing is kind of,
you're a mainlander. We don't want you because you're a mainlander.
Yeah, so it's like, nah, bro, it's fucking Japan. You spend yen,
well,
I spend.
I mean, there's a little bit of history there between the Ryukyus and the
I know
Japanese people.
Yeah.
A little bit of history.
Yeah, I know about it. Yeah.
But even drifting wise, dude, like, because I did the opposite. Like, you came to Okinawa and I went to mainland to drive, and like,
right,
the vibe is completely different up there. Like,
Totally.
Granted, you know, I had Kuro-san taking care of me when we go up there, and you know, I got to hang out at Matsuri with Kazama-san and the Team Orange guys and stuff like that, and meet them. But even just like the social atmosphere at that dinner, how people operated at the track, and then seeing all the different foreigners, and not like us American military guys there, but I don't think people understand the volume of like Australians and Brazilians that go to Matsuris
yeah.
at Ibizu.
Mm.
Like, it's insane how many actual foreigners travel out there, and just like seeing how everything operated there. And I'm like, yo, we have a track on a pig farm with 2 turns on it. Like, and it's just,
Yeah.
it's completely different vibes and operations.
I can hit a nasty munchie down the straight and one turn.
Yeah.
Dude,
No, man, but
you know, one thing I'll-
go ahead. Sorry about that.
sorry. So one thing I'll say, man, is like, and I had kind of the opposite experience, right? So I came from circuit racing in the States, right? Massive tracks, NC Bike, VIR, Road Atlanta, right? Like these are Dominion up in PA. Like these are big fucking tracks. And then I went to Okinawa and I was like, I have no interest in riding at your pig farm. Right? But a lot of the guys that came out there, they are American military and they get their start there, and that's all they knew. Now they have the multi-field, which is a little bit better, but it's still a giant skid pad. But you watch it with like our guest last week with Carter, right, with Tafari.
Mm-hmm.
They
sponsor drive, by the way.
Yeah, sponsored driver by Donald. They leave Okinawa and they actually get to see some of these other comps, and they see what you're talking about, the Australians, the New Zealanders, the Japanese, right? And they see the different size of the competition versus Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes them an infinitely better driver.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
100%.
And it gives them a different appreciation for the motorsport, whether it's circuit or drifting or autocross, gymkhana, whatever. It gives them a different appreciation. You know, and then the guys that are fortunate enough to go international and go to Korea, go to Thailand, come down to the Philippines, like it's different. It's a completely different atmosphere when you start traveling as a driver.
Yeah, Adrian, like you went to the BC, man. Like, how did you feel your progression was from like your before BC and after BC, man?
Oh man, that's huge. So I was drifting for probably 2.5, maybe 3 years in Okinawa. The first year and a half was all street stuff because Yambaru circuit wasn't open up yet and Naga was closed. And, you know, everything's second gear, super quick, super short. And then I got comfortable. I could connect corners. And, you know, Karo-san's like, hey, man, let's go to Ibizu Matsuri. So we go to Matsuri, I believe it was like November. And first thing is he's like, hey, we're doing Nishi. And me, I'm watching all the Americans that go to Nishi, and I'm like, oh, it's short. It's just, you know, one more gear. And he's like, no, we're doing Nishi long. Go on track. And I'm like, no, I want to watch you guys run it. And he's like, nah. Because and keep in mind, the only video of Nishi long that I've ever seen is Robbie and Daigo's missile cars.
Yeah,
flying down like 50
with the fucking trunk, with the trunk popping up like neon. Yeah,
and they're door on door, and I'm like, all right, man, like you have that feeling of like, okay, I don't want to disappoint my senpai, like I need to get out there. Right. And I click third, I do fourth, and I'm like, oh, fourth's a little scary. I put it back down in third, and I like paint into it, and you know, I was like, it was high speed. I got scared and I straightened, and then I like slowed it down and I hit the turn, and I'm like, okay, it's really not that bad. But after a weekend, because I actually totaled that 110 at North Course, and I crashed. And this is what makes drifters do just crashes. Like I'm a firm believer is how you react after you crash. I went fourth gear straight into the mountain because the LCA snapped coming up the blind hill. And when it snapped, it turned the right wheel full lock and pulled me away from the wall into the dirt pile. And they wasted no time. They were like, "Here's the other missile car. Get in it and go back out and drive."
Yeah.
And I was shooken up, and I'm like nervous. I'm like, I don't want to fuck up another car. And they're like, no. And fourth gear up the straightaway again. And when I went back to Oki, I remember my first time going back to Yambaru. I was like, dude, why the fuck is everybody's ego so big and everybody's gatekeeping? Because none of like 40 people, dude, like the clout chasing, this like pathetic attitudes, and gatekeeping that was going on. It's like none of you have been outside of second gear, dude. Like I went up there, I drifted third, fourth, I totaled the car going over 100. Like I did some shit, dude. And like I come back and like it was super humbling to come back to Okinawa. after that experience.
It sound like a war vet, dude.
Yeah, like it felt like I went through battle like after that crash, but yeah, man, it was very humbling, and that kind of shaped me like going forward. And I stopped drifting in Oki, and I would just save up to go back up to Nico or whatever after that, because it was just
it's always like that when if you're fortunate enough to bang a girl that's a 10, when you bang that 10, it's like, you know, a 7.5 was cool, you know, like 5 years ago, man. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, granted, it's 1 to 10, it all feels the same.
I mean, Fergie was cool in the 90s, you know what I mean? Now we got dude.
When you go to a big mountain to snowboard and then you go back to your local mountain, it's like, dude, like I just hit all this powder and everything, and now I'm like doing this one single. It's like everything when it raises your tolerance level, man. The reason I asked that because I spent one summer at a BC, dude, and my level went where I thought I was like good to like I'm trying to keep up with Suinaga, and then like I'm right there with him, and then I come back to your local guy, and he's like, dude, you got fast. It's like, bro, because I was trying to fucking chase him, and I had to go to 4th gear. I was scared too. 3rd gear was 4th gear was like, fuck, dude, that's fast. And when the wheels are still spinning, we're not near red line yet. And now I'm getting closer and closer and closer. And then when Masanori, who was my local guy, he won a D1 champion. He was 16 when he turned pro. When this guy's younger than me, but when he say, scale up, that's cool as shit, man. You know what I mean? For somebody to recognize your skill. Because it's like when you lose weight, like you don't really notice it. Somebody else will say, hey, man, your face is slimming down and blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing, man, with that. And that's why I asked that question, because I know exactly what you're going to say, man. Your skill level went from like fucking a 5 to an 8.5 in like one weekend.
So, in one event,
I want to jump in on that, man, because it's a subject I think a lot of our listeners need to hear too, man. Is whatever you're doing, whether it's short track, whether it's drifting, whether it's being a mechanic or a tuning, you got to push yourself, right? And it's that Dunning-Kruger effect. I had to Google that because I forgot what it was called. But the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? So you think you're fucking good, and then you try and go do some shit that good people do, and you're like, fuck,
yeah.
Right? So like when I did the RX-7 that's sitting at your shop right now, like a big part of that build for me was dealing with motorsport level shit, right? Doing concentric twist harnesses, doing Motec shit, doing M-Tron level shit. And going from a Power FC to a Haltech was a learning curve. Going from a Haltech to a Motec, I was like, there are a lot of options.
What do you do?
I think that's like the whole thing we talked about before, where it's like you get to that cliff edge, and are you ready to make that leap of faith? And are you willing to crash and burn, or are you going to be able to sail away? Like,
right. And dude, that's a thing. That's a big thing down here with the Philippines for me. Like pushing the shop out now, right? Is now I've got the space. Now I've got the dyno. I've got the reputation being a tuner from Japan, having a successful shop in Japan. Dude, some of the shit I'm getting asked to do, they're like, can you tune this swap that has 15 different cars put into it? I'm like, probably.
Yeah.
I guess if I can. What are you using to tune it?
Yeah.
Power FC.
No, SAFC Neo, man.
SFC,
yeah. And I still use that to this day on some things. Some people don't need, you know, it's like I talk to the customer, and I know Seth does it too. Everybody, I'm a Haltech dealer, blah, blah, blah. So of course you want to push Haltech, and I'm installing a bunch of those. But I'm like, hey man, what do you do? What are you trying to do? How much power are you trying to make? To be honest, man, like you don't need, and I've had guys happy shit with an SAFC Neo because they wanted like a little bit of boost and they didn't want to go crazy. They're not going to race and stuff like that. But I'm like, hey dude, if you're going to change some stuff, like you want to go towards Haltech Link, you know, whatever out there, modern stuff. Power FC, I use those a lot, but when I email Apex to say, hey man, here's a stack of ECUs I've installed, and they said thanks. That was their fucking reply, thanks. I'm like, and that from that point on, I'm like, I'm doing a bunch of marketing for Power FC, Apexy, which is a dying modern ECU, and I get so kind of going all the way back, man. That's the reason why you guys don't see me ever posting HKS, Tomei, blah, 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 because I'm not a dealer for these guys. I'm a dealer for XYZ in the States, New Zealand, Australia, UK, and I don't believe in free rides, man. So just like dirt bikes, I'm riding dirt bikes now, and I see a lot of guys got Dunlop and all this shit all over the thing. My fucking bike is just PinkuStyle. I I'm not a sponsored rider by Dunlop or this, and this. And maybe I'm taking it too extreme, but there's no free rides. If one of you guys gave me a sticker from your business, I mean, I would run it because it's like, cool, man. This is a partner. This is somebody that I spent time with, and that's how I carry it. But other than the slapping a fucking HKS thing on my windshield, nothing against it, but they didn't do nothing for me, man. And they got Taniguchi, Orito. They got all these big guys pushing their brand, a Cyber Evo. They don't need any more help, man. They're paid for life. So I would rep you guys first and start with you guys first before that. So when I got coilovers, man, and when guys they'll like, hey, man, I know you got coils, but my buddy is a dealer for BC. I'm like, dude, that's fine, bro. I'm not gonna. It's a good coilover. It's quality. They got support. Unless it comes down to the C5, C6 Corvette where it breaks all the time in that little section there. And, it is what it is, man. So guys just kind of get that buyer's remorse when they know you got a product and they go buy some T37s because everybody else fucking got them. Or you can make your own custom wheels. And it's like, dude, do what you want to do, bro. I got my own manufacturer. I can make, if I wanted to, I would never do it, but I can make fucking T37s. And let's not get into where shit comes from because that fucking Grady manifold was not made in Tokyo. It was made in fucking Taiwan. That's where it was made at.
No, it wasn't.
And they cracked like it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were talking offline, and I didn't want to look like a jackass, so I went and checked out, your product line and things like that. And I was like, damn, these fucking wheels would look sick on my wife's Suburban. And I sent him a picture of it, and I was like, I'm gonna have to get up with them later, to get a set. But I was like, that's what I think.
I can make with that. I can make anything I want. It's just the wheels is so many. Like there's nothing that hasn't been done yet. So to make it clear, my wheels are essentially big XR5 SSRs because that's my favorite wheel, but they never made them bigger. So I tweaked it a little bit to make it unique. So where the XR5 would poke out, mine just countersunk. So if you look at my wheel and think XR5, you're like, dude, they're XR5s. They're fucking XR5s. Because I'm like, dude, every time I made a design, it will fucking come back to XR5. I'm like, fuck it, dude. That's what I want to do.
Well, I gotta figure out the fitment, but it would be like some 26s.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest. Sorry, but unfortunately, the biggest mine goes to 24. Unfortunately, so
we might have to figure out 24s and go with the cam and a supercharger on there.
But then it took me. Seth knows, you guys know. It took me 2 weeks to program like just one set of wheels because I put all of the fucking when you click on this subtract. So that's a lot. That's what people don't understand. When you build a website, I didn't have the money to pay somebody. You got to put all the shipping shit in there, sizes. When you select this size, add 150, add 180. So that's line by line. You got to program that shit in and type it in there every time. Then once you build it, you can copy it to the next wheel, same database. But like I made it because I was like I can put like this contact me, but Amazon, man. You look at Amazon and how fucking easy it is to order. That's what people want now. So when you put contact me in the thing, you pretty much lost a sale. So I try to make everything fucking automated, man.
Because the world has become lazy.
Yeah.
Well, again, it comes back to if you want quality, you're gonna wait for it. And now I don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to build a new house now, but I told my wife, I said, don't even think about like asking me about a set of wheels to put on here because this is like it would look clean and it'll ride good as far as not having a crazy size on there. So I was like, it's just I think what really sold me too was you had some crazy colors, and I mean, I don't know.
So that color, those are just examples. So it's 42 colors right now, and you can kind of freak it out. Like I told one guy, if you wanted every bolt on your wheel to be a different color, we can do that. So like that's where, even with the coilovers, we were just talking about Bodhi. So this is my standard color right here. I would like everybody to use this, but I was like, look, dude, some guy out there doesn't fucking like pink because he's whatever. So when I made the change to allow people to change like their colors, I sold like 10 sets, dude, immediately because this guy can do UCLA colors or Nebraska colors or his favorite team colors as close as he can get to it. And that was the thing. So TM would never change from green. BC is going to be black and gold. Aragosta is going to be orange color, blah, blah, blah. So, and I understand it because it's branding and marketing, but when you give the guy an option to change their shit up and he's going to spend $1,200 anyway, it's like, if I can make that all gold, then that's going to make the sale better. So it was a risk, man. And I know it's diminishing my color brand, but whatever, dude. If I can give you the option for the wheels and make I mean, your fucking barrel this color and your wheel this color, not the same old silver, bronze, black, satin black, the same old shit that they push. And people, and I'm like, bro, T37s, LM GT4s, cool, man. But like that amount of money for like it's like, dude, you
A
can do so
basic
much
ass
more.
wheel with the basic
Yeah.
ass color.
Hey, dude, I need some bronze T37s. All right, bro. So
Yeah.
when you design that, let me
No,
know.
I mean, Donald, you're 100% right, man.
Yeah.
You know, when I built another Vikla style West Coast style bike, ultra limited. He wanted some big ass wheels. He had the stock 16 mag wheels on there, trash ass wheels. I hate looking at them. They're ugly as sin. I said, hey man, what do you want to do? He said, I want fat spoke, 21-inch front, 18-inch matching in the rear. I'm like, all right, we can do that. I said, what color do you want? And he goes, man, I really, really, really like these chrome spokes, but I want black hubs, black hoops. And I'm like, okay, so let me see what I can do. So we ended up doing mammoth fat spoke wheels by DNA Customs, and we are now DNA Custom dealer because of the options that they have. Man, we can go and change.
I'll be getting with you, man. I'll be getting with you on that.
Yeah, but we can go in and change. You know, you want a fucking pink hoop, and you want black spokes. We can do that. You know what I mean? So again, having the variety and having the option is definitely a plus, man. So I commend you for that. And I know it takes a lot of work because I built my own website myself. It takes a ton of work. Luckily I have a friend that kind of that started assisting, recently, but it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to put those options in and having those different options for customers to see, because again, I'll say it again, these, America, the US, America, overseas, the world in general is lazy.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head when you said you put that contact us on there. You just lost a customer because they don't want to go through the work. They don't want to fill out a simple, 5-section sheet just to give us basic information.
Yeah.
So
Bro, it's all cookie cutter Amazon builds, right? Like nobody is doing
fuck
the
that,
shit.
bro.
Nobody's doing the shit that like we came up doing, where we're like grinding, we're swapping turbine housings to figure out if it will work, not like, hey, it does work. Like we're figuring out the if and pushing for like advantages. And now everybody's just kind of like on Amazon, on eBay, like they're Googling coilovers for an S13 and they're going with the cheapest one. So it's like when you go to a car meet, when you go to a track day, every like builds are standardized. Everybody's rocking neons, coilovers, and wheels. So having the ability to customize those things, it speaks volumes now, because you go and you buy the cheap Kansai wheels and they're all one color. Like you have 4 color options. You've seen them on 30 cars already in the last month, right? But like now, whatever years the XR5s, you've seen those, but like bam, now PinkuStyle gives you all these color options, and like they don't have to pay full price for the XR5s, take them to go get sandblasted, pay for the full powder coating process that turns it into a whole next level set of wheels. Like you're selling, hey, here's almost the same price for the wheels, but you get to fully customize it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it makes it easy, but it makes it different for the customer.
And with that stuff, like, go sorry about that. Go ahead.
What I'll say about that is, like, yeah, you take that risk of potentially, it's not pink, so it's not PinkuStyle, but
no, I don't.
If you have well, I'm just saying, but having the quality there is tenfold for the company versus what color it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you give that option to people, but your quality stands behind that product,
right,
then that's all that really matters.
Right. And Adrian, you seen, like, of course you follow the thing. You seen essentially I sent the wheels to fucking Laguna Seca, beat it on a fucking corkscrew, which is, anybody know the corkscrew? That's the most amount of G forces and drops. The fact that my wheel beat it and went down on the load side and had a scratch on it, like that I don't have to do any more promoting. That's why you say I stopped. Right? It's like that's it. It's like that. I didn't want that to happen because that could have been really bad, and the drift skills definitely saved. And honestly, I kind of wanted to slide it anyway because the guys are doing it the day before, and you guys seen the videos from Laguna Seca, their last drift event. But DB to have the car come down and literally have a little scratches on the wheel, dude. That's 6061, man. So the quality is there, technology is there. And when people ask about my coilovers, like, they're fucking this quality, dude. It doesn't. Nothing's better than BC. I got my own blend of oil that I tested. 6 months of going back and forth to test oils, by the way. So before I announced anything, I tested for 6 months. They would use the same casing. They would change the oil. I would run this weight. Then I got my own signature mixture of oil that works. So you see guys around town and their fucking car is reacting to the bump that was 5 bumps ago. It's still the cars is fucking flopping because they got oil that's too aggressive or oil that's not aggressive enough, and they got the preload is not set. The fucking coilovers is hanging. So when I charge 68,000 yen to install coilovers, they're like, "Why is it so much?" I'm like, because step one is just putting that shit on. That's step one. Anybody could do that. Now I'm fucking adjusted, and Seth, maybe you'll disagree, man. I believe that suspension tuning is harder than engine tuning, dude, because you got the fucking
tuning. Dude, suspension tuning is an art. We were actually talking about this not long ago, right? It's engine tuning, engine tuning is math.
It sits there. Yeah.
Right. You do your clearances, your calculations, and you fucking go.
Yeah.
The suspension tuning, one, it's got to match the driver too.
Yeah.
I can set your preload. I can set your fucking corner weights. I can put you in the car, get your balances right, all of that right, and then you can go
built like Seth, and then you throw a Juan in the fucking car, and it's a totally different setup.
Well, it's not just that, dude. It's. I guarantee you that. Well, actually, me and Donald apparently drive a lot alike, according to Booty, who I was drifting with the other day. He's like, both of you are angry and aggressive. That's what he says. He's like, you're both angry, aggressive drivers. But,
no, that was just, I was trying to get a car to work, man. So I was like, if the car's gonna work this time, so they'll get to see it smooth. Like I was just trying to get as much momentum to fucking do, and that's why, like, yeah, whatever, yeah.
But yeah, he's like, both of you hate your rev limiter and beat on it forever. I'm like, fuck you, bro. But right.
with the suspension tuning,
my daughter's very, very smooth the way she does like her karting, right? And the way I do circuit racing or karting or whatever type is I'm a very aggressive line taker. I mean, me and Adrian fucked around on the go-kart track a couple times, and I'll undercut you, point, shoot, and drift, right? Like that's just how I trail brake on motorcycles. Like I'm an aggressive cornerer. And so my suspension has to be set up to be very, very responsive, almost like an oversteer based suspension tuning. As to where someone that's smoother, Eric Cassetter comes to mind because that dude's fucking slick like butter in his car, right? That dude, he has just a very non-aggressive, smooth, predictable suspension setup, right? But all of that, the toe, the Ackerman, everything has been set up for him, right? In the way he drives. And that's what you're doing when you tune suspension is really to dial your suspension. You got to take it trackside and dial it in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, with that, and also the people don't count like weight and stuff. When I tell guys come here, you got to have a full tank of fuel, because if you come here with quarter tank or whatever, then I set the preload and set things. When you fill that shit up, that shit's gonna go down. So you got to have nothing in it. If you're gonna race, what you're gonna have in the car, your seat, how much you weigh, 230 pounds, 250 pounds. That's gonna affect the corner weight. If I set the corner weight with nothing in it, I'm 230, whatever, 215, whatever my weight is at the time. That's not me. So it's gonna change things, man. So when guys, they don't understand suspension, you can have a fucking 1,000 horsepower and some shitty ass KYB shocks. It ain't gonna go anywhere far, man. So it's just so my 13.7 I ran back in the day, which was the fastest time. I had blown KYB and it acted like it was soft, how it's supposed to squat and everything. And I had ball tires. And John Shep, if you're old enough, everybody knows who John Shep is. John Shep had just set his time at that time was like 8 seconds back in that time. It was Talon TSI. So about they laid the VHT down. So John Shep ran his time, and then 2 people after that I ran on the same fucking lane as John Shep with some bald fucking tires, and they acted like slicks. So I got a 13.7, which out of a shitty ass KT setup was leaking oil and blowing smoke the whole time. And that was my highlight of my drag life. And now I'm pretty sure I got 10-second cars outside, but I've never been back because that's not what I care about now. But I'm guarantee you most of my cars run 10s or 11s, which that ain't fucking fast anyway, but it is what it is, man.
I know you have at least one sub 10-second car sitting out there.
Yeah.
We don't know.
We all know it ain't
it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Hey,
yeah, so
I'll
I'm
run that
I'm
bitch
talking
on
shit
5
now.
12 packs. Fuck you. All right, dude. It's an hour and a half. I got tuning to do. I got to tune this.
Me too.
Fucking HP tuner shit.
Yeah, like I said, I've got a guest from Cali, man. Hey, look, everybody that tuned in, man, we appreciate you guys jumping in. Absolutely, Donald. It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure to have you on. It is our honor
Sorry,
to have
guys.
you on.
Sorry, guys. If I talk too much, man.
No, you're good,
Thank
man.
you, bro.
Like I said, it's a pleasure to have you on, dude. I'm glad that we pushed it to an hour 30. You know, it wasn't planned, but it happened, and I'm glad it did. You know, we had some good conversations, some good topics, good controversial topics to talk about. Rolling into next week, you know, we'll see who we got to tap in for us next week, man. So again, we appreciate everybody tapping in. And with that, we're gonna cut the live, man. Y'all be good.
Peace.
All right, Donald, I'll see you in 2 weeks, dude.
Later, man.